Ever wondered how an entire civilization thrived in one of Earth's harshest environments without a single grocery store? The Inuit people mastered survival in the Arctic through a remarkable diet that might raise eyebrows today. They ate almost exclusively meat. While modern health gurus debate the perfect balance of food groups, the Inuits had no choice but to adapt to a world where vegetables were barely available. In the Arctic wilderness, Inuits thrived on a diet where 80% of their calories came from animal sources. Not because they wanted to, but because the frozen landscape demanded it. In temperatures that plunged to -50 degrees Fahrenheit, meat served as their internal heating system. The high-fat content from seals and whales did more than provide calories. It kept them warm enough to survive the brutal cold. Think of it as nature's premium fuel. In a place where frostbite was a daily concern, that fatty seal meat wasn't just food, it was survival. Here's where science drops a surprise. Traditional Inuit communities showed remarkably low rates of heart disease, despite their high-fat diet. Recent studies revealed their secret: the omega-3 rich marine mammals they consumed, combined with their intensely active lifestyle. When your daily routine involves tracking seals across ice floes, you don't need to worry about hitting your step count. The nutritional benefits of their meat-based diet were comprehensive. These communities got complete proteins, essential vitamins, and crucial minerals, all from animal sources. Vitamin D, normally provided by sunlight, came from fish oils and seal blubber. Nature's solution to the long, dark Arctic winters, when the sun decided to take a months-long vacation. Scientists discovered another fascinating detail. Many Inuit people carry genetic adaptations that help them process fats more efficiently. These biological modifications allowed them to extract maximum nutrition from their meat-heavy meals, showing how humans can adapt to extreme dietary needs over generations. It's like their DNA got the memo about their dietary needs and decided to level up. The evidence of this diet's effectiveness showed in their health. Traditional Inuit communities maintained robust health despite their challenging environment. Their meat-based diet, paired with constant physical activity, kept them thriving in conditions that would send most of us running for the nearest heated building. Practically speaking, meat solved another crucial challenge: food storage. In the Arctic's natural freezer, meat could be preserved through simple drying or freezing. While we worry about our groceries going bad after a week, the Inuits had nature's refrigeration system working year-round, ensuring their communities could maintain their food supply through the harshest winter months. But growing food in the Arctic? That's about as practical as surfing in the Sahara. The ground stays frozen in permafrost most of the year, with growing seasons barely reaching 50, 60 days in the warmest spots. Even during these brief summer windows, the soil only thaws to a shallow depth, making root development nearly impossible. The few plants that did grow in the Arctic, like berries, grasses, and lichens, were too scarce to rely on. When available during the brief summer months, these plants were treated like rare treasures. But here's the kicker: the energy spent gathering these sparse plants often exceeded their caloric value. Talk about a losing investment. The Arctic's extreme light cycles didn't help either. With weeks of total darkness in winter and constant but weak sunlight in summer, plants struggled to photosynthesize effectively. Add in the brutal winds, nutrient-poor soil, and challenging water availability, mostly locked in ice, and you've got conditions that would make even the hardiest farmer throw in the towel. This harsh reality left the Inuits with one clear path forward: mastering the art of hunting and meat preservation. At the heart of their diet were seals, particularly the ringed seal, which provided not only rich, fatty meat, but also blubber that could be rendered into oil. These blubbery bounties of the sea were like the Arctic's version of a one-stop shop, offering everything from food to fuel for their oil lamps. Whales played an equally crucial role in their survival. The massive bowhead whale, weighing up to 100 tons, could feed an entire community for months. When an Inuit hunting party successfully caught one, it was cause for celebration. Imagine securing several months' worth of groceries in a single day. Beluga whales, though smaller, were prized for their muktuk, skin and blubber, which packed a powerful nutritional punch with high levels of vitamin C. Caribou brought variety to the menu, and offered uniquely versatile resources. A single caribou provided up to 150 pounds of meat, but that was just the beginning. The hide became warm clothing, sinews transformed into strong thread, and bones were crafted into tools. Unlike their marine cousins, caribou meat was leaner, offering a different nutritional profile that helped balance the fat-heavy seal and whale meat. Fish provided year-round sustenance, with Arctic char and salmon being particular favorites. During summer months, fishing became a community activity, with entire families participating in the catch. In winter, they developed ingenious ice fishing techniques, cutting holes through thick ice to reach the fish below. Some communities could catch and dry hundreds of fish in a good season, creating a reliable food cache for harder times. Even the formidable polar bear occasionally made it onto the menu, though hunting these powerful predators was reserved for the most skilled hunters. Polar bear liver was actually avoided due to its dangerously high vitamin A content, a fascinating example of traditional knowledge aligning with modern science. This shows how the Inuits developed a sophisticated understanding of their food sources through generations of experience. The true genius of Inuit hunting lay in their waste not, want not approach. Every part of these animals served a purpose. Seal skins became waterproof boots and boat covers. Whale bones were used as building materials for homes in areas where wood was scarce. Even the intestines found use as waterproof clothing when properly prepared. It was nature's version of a zero-waste policy, long before that became trendy. These animals weren't just food sources, they were the foundation of Inuit material culture. Each creature provided solutions to multiple survival challenges. Seal oil lit their kuliks, traditional lamps, during the long, dark winters. Caribou antlers became tools. Whale baleen was crafted into fishing line and cord. In essence, these animals were the Arctic's department store, hardware shop, and grocery all rolled into one. Hunting in the Arctic wasn't just a matter of grabbing your gear and heading out. It was an intricate dance of skill, patience, and deep environmental knowledge. The Inuits developed hunting techniques so sophisticated that modern-day wildlife biologists still study their methods. It's one thing to hunt on solid ground, but try tracking a seal through ice while avoiding becoming a polar bear's lunch. Seal hunting required particularly clever strategies. Inuit hunters would spend hours motionless beside breathing holes in the ice, waiting for seals to surface. They'd identify these holes by spotting subtle differences in the snow's surface texture, a skill that took years to master. Using their traditional harpoons, they developed a striking technique that prevented seals from escaping under the ice. The harpoon's toggle head would turn sideways after penetrating, securing their catch. Whale hunting took teamwork to a whole new level. Picture this: several small boats coordinating to take down an animal larger than a school bus. Hunting bowhead whales involved entire communities working together, using hand-carved harpoons attached to sealskin floats. These floats served two purposes. They tired out the whale and marked its location. The hunters would follow these floats, sometimes for days, until the whale tired enough to be safely approached. Caribou hunting showed off their deep understanding of animal behavior. During seasonal migrations, Inuit hunters built elaborate systems of rock cairns, Inukshuks, that guided caribou herds toward waiting hunters. These stone sentinels still stand today, silent witnesses to their hunting ingenuity. They also developed specialized spears and later adapted bows and arrows that could take down these swift animals even in harsh winds. Ice fishing required its own set of skills. Inuits carved specific tools for different fishing conditions, from jigging sticks for catching Arctic char to specialized ice chisels for making fishing holes. They could read ice conditions to find the best fishing spots, understanding how different types of ice affected fish behavior. During winter, they'd build snow shelters over their fishing holes, creating comfortable spots to fish in brutal conditions. But perhaps most impressive was their ability to pass these skills down through generations. Young hunters learned through careful observation and guided practice. They didn't just learn how to hunt, they learned to think like the animals they hunted. Understanding migration patterns, mating behaviors, and feeding habits was as crucial as weapon skills. Safety was paramount in all these hunting practices. One wrong move could mean disaster in the Arctic environment. Hunters developed sophisticated knowledge of weather patterns, ice conditions, and animal behavior to minimize risks. They created specialized tools and clothing, like ice testing sticks and waterproof sealskin boots, to handle dangerous conditions. Even their kayaks were engineering masterpieces, designed to roll back upright if capsized in icy waters. This wasn't just hunting, it was a sophisticated system of wildlife management that preserved animal populations for future generations. The Inuits understood the importance of sustainable hunting long before it became a modern concern. They followed unwritten but strict rules about when and how many animals to hunt, ensuring their food sources would remain reliable for years to come. Hunting the animals is one thing, but the Inuit cooking methods were both brilliantly simple and surprisingly sophisticated. When you're dealing with meat in one of Earth's most challenging environments, you learn to get creative. Some of their techniques might raise modern food safety inspectors' eyebrows, but these methods kept communities thriving for generations. Raw meat consumption, or country food, as it's often called, was a cornerstone of Inuit cuisine. Take kiviak, for example, whole seals stuffed with hundreds of small birds, fermented under pressure for months until the birds reached a particular stage of decomposition. While this might sound extreme to our modern palates, this process created a reliable food source packed with nutrients. The fermentation actually preserved the meat while making it easier to digest. The Inuits mastered the art of meat preservation through various methods. One popular technique was making igunak, aged walrus or whale meat buried in the permafrost for several months. The meat would ferment slowly in nature's freezer, developing complex flavors while remaining preserved. It's like nature's version of dry aging, except instead of a controlled refrigerator, you're using the Arctic ground as your aging room. Fresh meat had its own special preparation methods. Quack, or frozen raw meat, was, and still is, considered a delicacy. Sliced thin while frozen, it would literally melt in your mouth. The Inuits discovered that eating raw meat this way provided maximum nutritional benefit, particularly important in an environment where getting enough vitamin C could be challenging. Who needs oranges when you have fresh seal liver? One of their most ingenious cooking methods involved using seal oil lamps called kuliks. These weren't just light sources, they doubled as cooking stoves. The heat from the lamp could slowly cook meat while providing warmth and light for the home. Talk about multitasking. The seal oil itself became a crucial ingredient, used for preserving meat and adding valuable calories to meals. The Inuits also developed sophisticated drying techniques. Strips of meat would be hung in the dry Arctic air, where the cold temperatures and wind would naturally preserve them. This created a lightweight, portable food source perfect for hunting trips. Think of it as the original beef jerky, but with caribou, whale, or seal meat instead. Perhaps most impressive was their nose-to-tail approach to eating. Nothing went to waste. Even parts modern diners might squirm at were transformed into nutritious meals. Blood soup provided iron and warmth. Intestines were cleaned and eaten, providing essential nutrients. Bone marrow was particularly prized, offering dense calories and nutrients in an easily preserved form. These cooking methods weren't just about survival, they were about making the most of every hunt. The Inuits understood that in their harsh environment, waste wasn't just inefficient, it was dangerous. Their cooking techniques ensured that every part of the animal could be used or preserved, creating a food security system that worked even in the most challenging conditions. Modern chefs might not be rushing to add fermented seal to their menus, but they could certainly learn something about resourcefulness from these Arctic culinary innovators. The Inuit approach to eating might seem extreme by today's standards, but their dietary wisdom is gaining renewed attention in modern nutrition circles. Their meat-based diet offers fascinating insights into human adaptation and challenges some of our most basic assumptions about healthy eating. Modern research into traditional Inuit communities reveals some startling findings. Despite consuming massive amounts of animal fat, these populations showed remarkably low rates of heart disease, about 10% of what we see in Western populations today. They also had minimal instances of other modern health problems like diabetes and obesity. It's enough to make us question whether we've overcomplicated our approach to nutrition. The influence of the Inuit diet can be seen in several modern eating trends. The ketogenic diet, for instance, mirrors aspects of traditional Inuit eating patterns. though modern keto dieters might reach for avocados instead of seal blubber. The growing popularity of nose-to-tail eating also echoes Inuit practices, focused on using every part of the animal. But perhaps the most relevant lesson is about food quality. The Inuits consumed wild-caught animals that lived on their natural diets, resulting in meat with significantly different nutritional profiles than today's factory-farmed animals. This might explain why the health outcomes of modern meat-heavy diets don't always match those of traditional Inuit communities. Their sustainable hunting practices and zero-waste approach offer valuable lessons for today's world of industrial meat production. The Inuit diet also reminds us that human beings are remarkably adaptable, capable of thriving on varying diets when they're well suited to their environment and lifestyle. Current research into gut health and traditional diets suggests that some Inuit preservation methods, like fermentation, may have provided benefits we're only now beginning to understand.